biggest challenge of facing a team twice in 3 weeks?
Man, I think, just finding obviously what had happened in the last game and what adjustments you can make, but also we just played them 2 weeks ago. So looking back at the other game plan as well and having it sort of fresh in your mind and picking it up where you left off and obviously making some changes where you need to. But, feels like we just played them. So
They were obviously effective against you. You go into it thinking, okay, they're going to do the same thing, or do you figure, no, they're going to mix it up since we just saw them, or do you not worry about any of that, like Kyle and the coaches worry about, how they might attack or whatever tweaks they might have?
Yeah, obviously we look at the last game that's most recent, 2 weeks ago, and then you still got to look at, the whole season and, how they played just in general and who they are as a defense and stuff. But obviously Kyle and the coaches do a great job with understanding, where we weren't great, where we were good, and what we can continue to be good at and build on those kind of things. But, they do a good job with that. Like Kyle's done it, year after year where we've played teams pretty quickly, like a quick turnaround, and has made some pretty good adjustments and stuff. But at the end of the day, too, you got to go out and execute and play a physical game, man, and execute on third down, stay on the field. And, you can draw up all the plays that you want, but at the end of the day, man, it's can I be better than the guy across from me and do it longer? So
You've done nothing but win up in Seattle. So when friends ask you to describe the environment and what it's like to win up there, what do you tell them?
Yeah, it's one of the, hardest places to play when it comes to the environment and the fans, and every down matters, and you have to be on point with everything, your communication, the operation, things like that, because it all matters, it all adds up. So, but when you're on top of it and you can execute, on the road, it can feel really good when you do your job at a high level. So, tough place to play, but it's worth it if you're on top of your stuff.
Their defense is really talented, obviously, but it seems like they have an elite scheme, an elite play caller. What makes Mike Macdonald such a challenge from a quarterback's perspective?
Yeah, he just does a good job of making the quarterback have to earn everything. And I feel like there's not a lot of easy gimme plays out there. You have to play quarterback for 4 quarters and be smart with the ball and go through your progressions truly. And then on top of that, the front, how they coach up their front with the push in the pocket, playing pretty deep to short on a lot of things, and not allowing you to have a lot of explosive plays across the board. Like, you have to go earn every single yard. So, and that's obviously for the quarterback, but, for the whole offense as a whole, it goes for everybody. So he does a good job with it. He's got a good scheme. And then on top of that, really good players.
Is it fair to say you can't be greedy and you have to sort of take what he gives you?
Definitely. Yep.
Is it easy for you to be patient like that?
I think over the years I've sort of had to learn in certain situations, when to be patient, take what they give you, stay on the field and compete on third downs and do that the whole way. Or, there are a couple ops maybe of if we do have a play call with an opportunity on and they give us a look, let's go and let's take it. So, it's just that fine balance. But, I've been up against this guy a couple times, and I feel like the theme of it has been definitely, be patient and find ways to stay on the field.
San Francisco go into Seattle labeled as underdogs. Is that like a tagline that you guys cherish and relish going in?
I think at the end of the day for us, it's we just focus on ourselves, man, and we watched the film against Philly, and all of us were also eager to get better from that, and then obviously we're in the playoffs now, so it's we stayed alive, and we're alive right now. So for us, how can we just go and find a way and play together and play our standard of ball as the 49ers? So that's how we look at it. Obviously, you can call us underdogs and everything, but for us, man, we just focus on ourselves and go about it that way.
Brock, 3 years ago today, I think you made your playoff debut up there. How are you a better quarterback today than the guy that went into that game?
Sorry, you threw me off because my first playoff debut was
3 years ago. I think today was your game in Seattle, first playoff game
here at home. But yes, sorry.
How are you a better player than that player?
Yeah, man, I just think, the system, how Kyle calls plays, what I need to do as a quarterback for 4 quarters. I just feel like I have a better grasp of that. My rookie year was sort of just, I got thrown out there and I knew the plays and everything, yes, but man, I was just sort of just playing. And sometimes wishing, like looking back and watching the film, like, man, I got to be smart in some situational football moments. And, I feel like now, 3 years later, I just feel better in that regard. So, but it's never easy. I'll say, like, it's the NFL. New guys come in, there's new scheme, there's new coaching, you name it. You have to find ways to adapt and be at your best every Sunday. And nothing's ever given to you just because you had success the last week or years past. So that's something that I've also sort of had to wrap my mind around mentally.
And like for you, like just seeing Fred Warner, from the season-ending injury to now maybe not it being a season-ending injury, what has it done for the locker room just to have that window open for him and there's a possibility that he could play at some point here?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Obviously, Fred he's different from anybody else in terms of, he can be labeled as having a, season-ending injury and then all of a sudden just go hard on the rehab and get right just in case there is an opportunity. And so here we are. And it's pretty cool because he's done every little thing right. And just being around the locker room and stuff and being around in the weight room at practice, it's just cool because you can feel him and his presence. And guys are like, man, like 54 is right there around the corner. And obviously we do our job, handle our business, then we can get him back, which would be really cool. And guys feed off that. He's the captain here, man. He's the guy that we all follow. So, and he set the standard of, really how we play here. So to get him back would be, really, really cool.
Yeah, what makes the He-Man Warrior such a tough guy to go against and plan for?
I'm sorry, can you say it again?
What makes He-Man Warrior, I know it's number 3, such a tough guy to go against and plan for in these kind of games?
Yeah, obviously, like he's a young, talented, flies around kind of player. He got length. He's a guy that is going to bring it for 4 quarters. He can cover. He can, drop back in zone. He can do it all. And so for all of us, like, we just got to do our job and be on top of our stuff. And he's a guy that you just got to be aware of because if he catches you slipping, he's going to make you pay.
Your first road start was in Seattle, and I guess when you think about, and it's not like you were intimidated or anything by that environment, but when you look at that, being in that environment, and you've gone through so much, I mean, is it more like you embrace that kind of like the hostility now more so than maybe you did as a rookie?
Yeah, I think, as I've played, it's, you start to learn and sort of feed off of the backs against your wall kind of mentality of everybody there is wanting you to fail, and all you got is your sideline and your team, and that's it. And obviously some of the faithful that travel and stuff, which is great, but it's almost this mentality of like, everybody's out against us, and we got to defend ourselves and fight. And so, I don't know, it's been a thing that I sort of have learned that, as I've played, I really do like it. So, and I know a lot of guys in the locker room do. Everybody, if you're in the NFL as a competitor, man, like you're gonna love that challenge. So, that's the good thing about it. But at the end of the day, like I said, you got to go execute every single play, every single down, and then look up at the end and see what happens. Thanks, guys.